Okay. Well,
We on?
I think so. I'm looking down at the page here. We'll wait for the peeps to tell us if we're actually here. Are we here? Well, we know the Grumpy Penguin is here. Oh, it looks like we popped into place.
It's on.
Lucky
Sky
13.
says it's on.
Very good. Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday, December 18th, 2019. For Ben Barden, it's actually Thursday.
It's Thursday the 19th, which is a special day because it's my wife's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday. Awesome. Here we are at what will now be the official last episode of Cameron Flask for the year. Last week was the unofficial because it was all three of us. Welcome to the show, everybody. We've got, by the way, the Grumpy Penguin in the house. Apparently was buying a house, so has been busy doing things and building studios and all kinds of things. Lakeshore
Pretty
Studio
cool.
4. I know you're about to log out because there's no Caleb. The golden child is not here. But I think we established that last week. He had a prior commitment, and this happens sometimes. But you're close, so don't bother him. That'll be kind of stalkerish, but you know what's happening. Ben, how are you? Good to see you.
You too, my friend. Yes, I'm all right. All right. Kind of that last few days of chaos before the calm of Christmas.
Yes, exactly.
Sort of. Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm in the barn. I'm excited about next year, which we'll talk about a little bit. I think we need to have a drink, though. So why don't we start with that? And what is it that you're having for a drink today? And please chime in, everybody in the chat. Bart, Hay, 360 Grad, Harrison, Loom Movies, welcome. James Parrish, we got Lakeshore Studio 4. We know Tommy Calloway. We've got, of course, David Carroll. Oh, my God. We do sound good, don't we? What the heck is going on here? Let me see. Is this the gold cock again, or what? No, it's a bottle.
No, not this week. We're wine. So I'm on a 2015 Rioja. I haven't tried this one, but I like it very, very, very dry. Hopefully,
that looks like that bottle opener looks like it could hurt.
No, yeah. Well, I don't know. That's why your brain's gone into instruments of torture.
There we go.
But
Thank you.
A very efficient way of getting a cork out. So I'm going to pour that and fill us in what you're drinking this morning.
James has got a Boone's Farm. How cold is my barn? Alex, my barn is cold. Well, it's actually not that cold now because I had the heater going and it's the middle of the day. So it's at a comfortable temperature, but it can get damn cold here. But we're going to be insulating this thing and it's going to be a beautiful thing. So what am I drinking? Finishing up a bottle here of the Balvenie. This is the Caribbean cast, the 14, which I wanted something sweeter today with a little less smoke. I've got a backup Glenlivet 12, but I think I don't need more than that for the show, to be honest with you. It's a nice, I'd say about a 2+ finger pour, and to the end of 19 and to 2020. To everybody. We've got Lakeshore Studio, a Miller Lite, which is basically ginger ale because he's editing. Cheers. Let's go. Here we go.
Na zdrowie. Cheers. And also, I love Bart's drinking the Founders All Day IPA. That is such a great bit of marketing, calling a beer that. All day, it's fine. You can drink that all day. It's going to be weak. It's all right. It's like session ale.
Is it?
Well, I guess so. In session ale says to me, you can just keep going at that. It's not that strong. That's just one to be stuck on for the night. Okay.
All right. We got some questions here. So we've got Bart saying, vacation last week, got my first Blanton's horse. Good for you. I'm not a big bourbon guy, but Booker's is number 1, and I'd probably say Blanton's is number 2 for me. Rioja, can't go wrong. Founders All Day IPA. Boone's Farm. What's a good smooth whiskey recommendations? James Parrish. Well, you wouldn't go wrong with the Balvenie.
The Balvenie's good. The Balvenie's my favorite. Love it.
Even a Balvenie 12-year double wood, which is reasonably priced. That Caribbean cask is not as inexpensive. The other one that I had, which is the Glenlivet that I had last week, which is the one that's in the cognac cask. That's really nice. So, you want something to start off with that's a little smoother, goes down easy, and then you start to get adventurous. All right. Erath Pinot. Very good, Kim.
Very nice.
60-minute IPA shout out there. And good last show, gentlemen. Cheers, bye. What? Okay, Shiznuk. That was fast. You hung with me in the morning, but
no. He's got an early start tomorrow. He said he wasn't even going to come at all. So very much appreciated that you stopped by, my friend. Have a good gig tomorrow. Yeah.
We've got a shout out here from 360 Grad for Hibiki. 360 Grad doesn't drink, but he knows his scotches. That's a Japanese whiskey, so it'll have an EY, but it's very much made in the style.
And speaking of Japanese whiskeys, what was that whiskey that we were drinking in Vegas?
I don't know, but I hope Adamos has another party where we can drink it again. I have a picture. I have a picture in my.
I do as well on my phone somewhere. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, welcome everybody. It's got a nice crowd here, and we love having you here on the show. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get into 2019, going into 2020. We are on our last show for the year because next week on Wednesday is Christmas Day. The following Wednesday, we have New Year's. So we are going to come back the following Wednesday after that, which I believe is January 8th. Is that correct? Feeling pretty good about
yes, it is. The 8th is the Wednesday, yeah.
So we'll be back on Wednesday, January 8th, as will Gearbox or some form of some content, because I'm working on a new show, which should be fun. Ben, I need your list to be sent to Jess for that, okay?
I'm five into it.
That's enough. Just send her that.
Is it?
That's a good
start.
Cool,
I'll send that.
Yeah, 5's great. Okay, perfect.
There's some things you'll have fun with in there.
Okay, good. I don't know what that means.
That
as long as it doesn't hurt, then we're good. Okay. So mentally is okay. I just don't want any physical pain. Got a torn cornea to add to the pile of 2019 SHIT. I can say that, right? But I'm doing my best. Good, Bart. Oh my God. Wait a minute, Bart. What are you talking about? You're finally like get out of the environment a little bit, getting a little bit of. Oh, I'm so sorry.
How'd you tear a cornea?
Yeah,
that sounds horrendous.
Yeah, but the house looks like it's starting to be worked on, so we're happy about that, and that's good. So it'd be great to hear an episode on digital marketing one day, talking about what to do with videos after they are made or how they are used. Okay, noted, Tony. Yeah,
that'd be a good one to get a guest in as well.
Yes.
People that do that entirely for a living.
Well, so if you look here, we have a 4 up when we do Camera and Flask right now. 2 of these being populated by stupid logos or something like that. And usually Caleb's taking up one of these. So we do have lots of opportunity in the future to have a 4th person on the show. That is definitely, speaking of 2020, one of the plans for what we'd like to do. If you have a particular question or you'd like our attention in the chat, just put an @the_C47 in there. If you're new to Camera and Flask, please subscribe to the channel. It helps. It's good. Michael is 12:08 a.m. in Germany, and of course, editing in FCPX. #nothing new.
Now, Michael, you're next door.
That's right.
Same time zone as me.
That's right. Wait, the house. Yes, good. Well, we got some chat going on back and forth. So, here we go. All right. So we got some stories going on. Cornea land. There's a shout out. The Canon EOS R Mark II is rumored to come out next year. Yes, so is the A7S3. What do you expect? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the little clue that people and Canon do like to throw out these little red herrings, as in the rumors partly related to that camera and the C200 upgrades before NAB last year. But the price drop that B&H have got on that particular camera right now is insane. It's so cheap. Yeah. It's like $800 off or something ridiculous, which in the normal run of things, you think might suggest that there is a new model coming. However, that may not be the case. Who knows? We shall see.
Okay. And then James is asking about this whole Nikon Z being able to, handle ProRes RAW. Just released. You have to send it in or bring it into a service center, 200 buckaroos, at least in US dollars. I will tell you this, the feedback that I'm getting is that it's very good if you use the 2 recommended ISOs. That's what I've been hearing. If you go outside of those, then it can be noisy. I don't know if I'm surprised or not surprised, when you start to do things like RAW and you start to tap into a sensor and its full dynamic range, and now it's a video camera, it's not a stills camera. It's a different ballgame. So I'm excited about it. And I think if you are a Z6 owner, that it is definitely something to consider, especially if you have a Ninja 5, because basically for $200, you're in the ballgame.
The other interesting thing, I wonder if there's going to be, if the Blackmagic Video Assist are going to be able to take the RAW out of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That product, that they seem to be talking to a lot of people, but nothing announced. Yes. Other than, I don't think anything since those initial 2, being the Eva and the C300 Mark II, I think were the 2 that they were able to take RAW out of. Yeah, it's interesting though in a camera of that form factor, and that kind of came out of the blue. But the announcement was, I think, was it NAB last year? So it's a long time ago. It's been a long time coming.
I mean, January the cameras came out, but NAB is when Atomos made this announcement. I've actually been playing with more than playing with. I've been shooting a video on the new firmware update for the Shogun 7 and for the Sumo 19, where you can do the live switching with 4 inputs. So that's been a fun few days in the barn. A lot of figuring things out with products like the Connect Convert Scale. So that's how I'm basically getting the laptop into the whole mix, HDMI to SDI, using the Connect Converts to just get C100s from HDMI to SDI, because you've got to feed SDI into there. So it's a lot of fun. Now I got to edit the sucker. So there you go. So that's been pretty cool. And, really usable. I've done a lot of live not live streaming events, but I've done live sort of TED Talks events in the past, many of those. Just finished a course this year for lynda.com, LinkedIn Learning, that goes over that type of production. And I would have loved to have had that on the Sumo 19 if it existed back then when I was doing them on a regular basis. Because we were calling, we're on comm systems, and we're calling cameras in terms of, composition, focal length. We were on a Jimmy Jib for one of the cameras, getting, audience reaction shots, kind of dirty shots of the audience. And it would have been fantastic if we were feeding all of those 4 cameras to a Sumo 19, and we were basically live switching. And we could do a program out too, which was would have been really great. So nice stuff, really good. So good. Yeah. So Chris, there will be a video for that that I've done, which I now have to put together because of the holidays. It was supposed to drop a little bit earlier, but the firmware wasn't out. So we've shot it now, and now I basically have to do the post on that. So we're going to finish that up. And then the ATEM Mini is the next piece of the puzzle here to basically do live streams and do some exciting stuff with that. I'd love to have Curtis on the show, Alan, anybody who's an audio person. I think we can make that happen in the future. I don't think it's an impossible ask. We're not getting Roger Deakins anytime soon, but
you don't know that. You don't know that.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, once I hit 6,000 subscribers, man, of course we're going to get Roger Deakins.
Oh, it's the BSC show in London coming up at the end of January. And by the way, anyone who is based in Europe or the UK, it's a fantastic show. It's in Battersea Park, and it's actually the first weekend in February. I think it's the 1st and 2nd, whatever that weekend is, the Friday and the Saturday. There's loads of really good seminars. Deakins has done them before. Loads of kit to go and get your hands on, have a play with. I will be there and boozing the weekend away. It's my little treat weekend in London. Always good fun. So look that up if you're around at that time of the year.
Yep.
And we can ask Deakins to come and guest.
Of course we can. He hasn't
He seems
even
like
gone
a
on
nice
the
guy. He'd do
Wandering.
it for sure.
He hasn't even been on the Wandering DP podcast. He's not coming on this show. Come on. That's I love.
He's a visual guy. A podcast's not going to appeal to him, is it?
I love how people throw out shit like, "Oh, I want to see the episode where Potato Jet helps me buy a used Alexa," as if he knows who I am. Let's be serious, people. Okay, can we just bring this show back down to reality? Bart, by the way, says he was waiting a long time to see the update for the live switching. They won't bring it to the 19M because the whole point of it is that you are bringing in feeds and you are essentially switching and recording. So it'd be kind of cool to do that just so that you could get the feed in and then I guess, call a program stream out. But I think you're better off with a product like the ATEM Mini for that, unless you need SDI. So I think that that's a better fit for that kind of stuff. So maybe it's not, but I think that's what I'm thinking. What do we, man, Bart, you don't want to have me on the show? Come on, Bart, let's go. I don't know if we could, oh, you, I could. You're not cheeky. I'm thinking about David. David on the show, forget about. That could just be crazy. Brian is throwing out FX9 or C500 Mark II. I'm going to throw that to you first, Ben, and then I'll give you my thoughts on that.
They're both great cameras. They really are. Honestly, right now, depends what you're doing, but I think the FX9 rolling on from the FS7 as being the camera. I don't know where you are, but in this part of the world, if you're a gun for hire, the FS7 is the tool that is going to get you the work right now. That's in massive demand. Both cameras on paper, I would go for the C500 Mark II for sure. That thing is just so versatile, so modular. Love it. We'll see where the demand lies for that in a few months' time in terms of broadcast gigs and whether people are really wanting that. But the Sony's been where it's at recently. We shall see. But for me, all things being equal, the C500 is the one that I would chuck my $15,000 at for sure.
Yeah.
What about you?
And I think we all said as much last week, so yeah. I won't rehash that. I think that's where it sits for me as well. And the big one there is your native 5.9K resolution is being recorded internally to the camera. And you also have a compressed RAW format. So, do I wish it was Blackmagic RAW or ProRes RAW? Of course I do. But that's just not the way it's going to happen. So there you go. So, yeah, we had Grip Tips come and visit us on one of the episodes. Love to have Grip Tips on the show. I think, again, we'll be talking about some of those stuff, some of that stuff. Any recommendations for live streaming with 3 cameras?
Don't use light stream.
Huh?
Don't use light stream.
Why are you asking for advice on
Have you not been on the show before?
Oh my goodness. If you haven't watched the show, then go back and watch a few episodes for like 5 minutes and see what happens. It's a cluster. Smart remarks. Any guesses one might be able to, a sleeper hit of 2020? Ooh, sleeper hit of 2020. Well, I'll tell you what, if the A7S III comes out, that's not a sleeper hit. That's just a hit. So, sleeper hit. I don't know.
Camera wise, or what are we talking?
Yeah, what product category are we talking about?
Narrow it down for us.
Yeah. Do I think an RF mount Cinema EOS camera will come out anytime soon? Yes. Eventually.
Yes.
You know what I'd really love? Can we please just take the freaking XF15 from Canon, the little medium format camera-ish thing, put a goddamn RF mount on that thing, and be done with it? Can we just get Canon Log 3? You know what? Just make it Rec 709 if you have to. But just make a UHD 4K version of it. At least put the RF mount on that and let me have that little form factor. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Have we got a product category for this yet? No, we haven't. All right. No, what do we think, Ben?
Yeah.
What's coming? I mean, it's NAB. Although NAB has changed, that is not where cameras get released anymore.
That's true.
Generally.
Okay, wait, hold on. Before we get into that, though, should we just do a little recap of 2019?
Yes.
The chat. What was sort of the highs and the lows of 2019? What are you looking for next year? Again, questions are basically all for the taking. What do we have? Oh, okay. So I think Film photo Mustafa Morad. That is one heck of a.
That's a name.
Like that. That's a name. It's just going.
It is a name.
This is a big subject. I think that really it's a subject where we would be best to sort of chime in on some of the tools that we're using, but bringing that fourth person in. And unfortunately, there's a missing person here today who would be able to chime into that better than both Ben and I, which is Caleb, because he has the most experience with OBS and some of these other solutions and things like that. Rob says, sure, camera. Well, Rob, since you have about 4 years on me, I'm going to say sleeper hit is going to be, it's not a, see, you have to take a company, a sleeper hit, which I don't think is going to happen, would be Fujifilm coming out with a camera system that's a digital cinema camera. So they're competing in the C200 EVA 1 market.
No.
Yeah. What?
They bring out a medium format cinema camera system.
Oh yeah, like the GFX like 100 or yes.
Yeah.
So they do a medium format. And is it a sleeper hit? I don't know if it's categorized as that, but let me just tell you, if they came out with an IMAX camera that cost less than $10,000 with a medium format sensor, holy magoli, the used lens market would go bonkers.
It would go crazy. Start stocking up.
That and then Bart says you can help with the streaming and OBS stuff. And okay. So now Bart needs to be on the show. All right, Bart, fix that eye and fix that house, and then let's talk about that.
Then you're on.
So you're a smart ass. Come on, Rob. You know that. That's what the camera and Flask is all about. All right, 2019 highs, Nikon, and Canon mirrorless lows. Nikon and Canon. Yeah, all right, James. I go with that. Alex is getting in on the conversation with some stuff. I'm using an Elgato Camlink 4K. Seems to be working pretty reliably. Yeah.
I've never had a problem with that thing at all. You don't even need to install any software with it. You just plug the thing in and it's there on your list of devices. It's such a good piece of kit. Yeah.
How was your freelance year this year? No, just tell me about 2019. How was your freelance year this year, Ben?
It's changed a lot this year. I think I seem to have been at home more, although I've actually traveled more, which is, I guess, sort of shorter jobs and more of them in some ways. But on the other hand, I think shorter jobs and shorter trips away, but bigger projects this year. So it's good. I think turnover-wise, definitely up from the last 2 or 3 years, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's changed. So a lot of the smaller bits and pieces that I was doing back in the UK, that's kind of fallen away a bit, and more of this kind of bigger projects, bigger industrial stuff has come through, which is definitely more lucrative. So that's good. But I would like to be busy. I'd like to be doing more. So using my downtime from now on, really, I've actually put a load of work on my website that I haven't updated for probably about a year. And I've been just pinging off emails to companies here in the Czech Republic, production companies, marketing companies, which I've just not really done before. I don't really have many contacts here in Czech. I've done a few jobs here, but generally all my work's abroad. And with what happened politically in the last week in the UK, I'm really conscious of trying to get more jobs within the European region rather than necessarily just in the UK, because none of us quite know how that's all going to work with working across those lines in future. So that's all good fun. But yeah, it's been a better year. Some fantastic jobs, traveled loads, done some really interesting travel as well, not just the mundane rinse and repeat kind of traveling. Which I know me and you have always said this, that the best and worst thing about what we do is the travel.
Yes.
It's great getting to do that, but it's also a huge pain in the arse. So yeah, it's been good that way this year, and we'll see. We'll see how things go. I think there's more offshore stuff coming for 2020. I'm planning on doing a few more courses again, my filmmaking for photographers stuff that I've taught before, and that works really well. So we'll see. We'll see. How about you? How's your year been?
It's been good. It's been, I don't think transitional is the right word, but it's the first year here for the whole year. And a lot of clarity in terms of how things are moving forward. It's really just dollars and cents that are going to take that to the next step. As you know, always a bit of a roller coaster ride. There's been times this year where it's just been amazing, and then other times where it's been quiet. Ending off the year with a couple of smallish projects, nothing huge, but looking forward to 2020, seeing a couple of things already that could be a little bit bigger. I think my relationships in terms of companies and manufacturers and resellers is starting to, I'm not going to say change, but there's some new stuff on the horizon that's coming in, and I have a new show coming up in about that, and we're going to see how that all works out.
It's going to be great. Yeah,
I think it could be fun. So I'm still sorting out the whole format for that, and I sort of want to not take it too seriously. So I'm figuring that out, and that's actually part of what I've been doing. Is I haven't just been doing this Atomos video, but I have a C100 Mark I sitting right above me here. I have one over there. I have the C200. I have the laptop, and the idea is to start to get into some stuff where I'm in this space more, creating content more, and then of course I want to blow this space out and at least put together the first 1,100 square foot space that's an open space here, where I'm not going to do it upstairs like I've shown everybody. I'm going to get rid of the vertical support columns, and I'm going to put a big header in here, and I'm going to do it down here in this space, and essentially take advantage of the fact that when I insulate it, I'm not listening to a metal roof. I can get rid of the garage doors and other stuff. And I think overall, it's just going to be a much, much better move. If you come here either before or after NAB, I think it's going to be after based on the way you've set your flights.
It's definitely going to be after, yeah.
Yeah. Then that'll be great.
But I'm certainly gonna do it. So that's an exciting thing to be looking forward to already. That the flights are now certainly booked for NAB. That is definitely happening.
Yeah.
So
and great news also that you don't know about. 100% booked the space now for the 2-day workshop. So that's all locked in. So now it's just working with lens rentals on the equipment for the workshop, and then the hard work is really me redesigning those 2 days the way I want them to be, which is going to be very different. In fact, I'm thinking that some of this is going to come into the workshop too, sort of like multicam, because it's for, the market for my workshops are definitely small to no crew, but they're also corporate and in-house, which is very much one and the same. Yeah. Tell me.
No, I was just going to say, tell everybody what we're talking about.
We're talking about that at NAB every year. I teach field workshops that happen right before the show starts. So these are traditionally over the last 4 years or so, 1-day workshops, but each day has a different topic. So it could be small to no crew, corporate and in-house production, which is sort of the all-arounder. And then there's another workshop which is focused primarily on lighting. So we'll do that offsite, not at the convention center. Big space. We cap it to 25 people. Hopefully, things happen, but they've promised me it's capped at 25 people. And this year, the plan is actually to do a full 2 days with the same people. And the idea is that we're jumping into, of course, corporate and in-house, but that's including more in-depth with lighting, no redundant information, and I'm going to get into a lot more setups. And I'm super excited this year because Ben and Caleb are going to be the ones who are going to be helping me set up for it, and they'll be there as essentially the crew support system, there to have conversations with people. I'll be teaching the workshops, but they will be there helping with everything. And
heckling, that's what we'll be
doing. Heckling, professional hecklers, paid hecklers. And the great thing is that this year I'm not only going to be changing the sort of flow and format, but I'm going to be integrating brand new things. And part of that's going to be that, corporate and in-house has to do what we're doing on a regular basis now. They're looking forward to doing things like live streams and multi-camera things, and of course, core focus on, lighting and shooting interviews and lighting setups. But I think that part of what I'm starting to figure out is that that's going to get integrated into these 2 days to a degree as well. Yes, there you go.
So presumably, are we in the same space that we were in last year?
We are, which is a big
This place is great. It's really
huge.
You walk in, there's a 1960s Mustang parked under the staircase. It's just a little caravan. It's super cool.
Yeah, it's fun. We'll have a good time. So hopefully we'll see some of you there. And the great thing is that except for a couple of commitments that we have for meetings or a presentation here or there, once the show starts, yes, well, that happens. Once the show starts, we are around. And last year we did a little meetup between Central and South Hall, had some beers with people and hung out a little bit. So really, I'm thinking that that's going to have to happen again. We'll talk more about that as a threesome when we are getting into the new year.
Yeah, and this time we'll try and have that somewhere that isn't in the baking, scorching sun in the middle of the day. We'll find
exactly.
Somewhere.
What we could do is we could go over to the hotel. Oh my God! It used to be the Hilton, or is it the Hilton now? The one where
it's the Westgate now.
It's the Westgate.
It's called the Westgate.
I think we should go over to Westgate and sit at the bar at Benihana or something like that, or we'll find something.
And for those of you that have not been to the Westgate, it's one of the last of the real old Vegas hotels, and that's where Elvis used to live when he was resident in Vegas doing his shows towards the end of his time. And it's just it's really cool. I like it very much. Everything else is very shiny and blingy now, and that's still that little bit of old, slightly smelly Vegas that
it's good.
It's slowly going, but I love that place.
Oh my gosh, the Grumpy Penguin twice in one day? Are you kidding me? What is going on with my life here? And then David, what has just possessed you? I mean, these words of kindness are very nice. Well, we like having you here every week, David. It is a pleasure to have you, even with your cheekiness.
Absolutely.
And it wouldn't be the same without the regulars, but we love having new people come in, and we want this to grow. And we promise that the soul of this show will not change. The whole idea is for us to all just take a break for an hour every week and just sort of chat it out and go over things. And we'll have some more challenges and things like that as time goes on.
For sure. And also, I think tonight,
overpriced beers in the hot sun at the last time we all met up, and it was a small group, but it was fun hanging out.
It was cool. But we were drinking. I can't even remember what it was. It was something like Coors Light or some horrendous piss.
It was awful.
Passing for beer. It was absolutely so bad. Diet and
piss in a cup is what it was. David, you gripped Grip PA on a feature this year. How long was the shoot, and what was that like? Love to hear more about that. Cool. The workshop is not recorded, Tony, but that's just the way they set it up. I was all set and saved to go to NAB, but then my wife went and said we were having a baby boy. Whoa! On April 8th. Can you believe that? I can believe it. She'll do anything to keep me from Vegas. Travis, I have had 2 NAB babies. The first time my wife went into labor during NAB, well, she didn't. She was close. And I came home from NAB, and she went into labor 48 hours after I got home. And then the second time she was pregnant for an NAB baby, I decided not to chance it, and I stayed home. And it's the only year that I haven't gone to NAB because I was like, that's not happening twice. So
No.
hard for me. Yep.
360. Yeah, I know. Will normal service will be resumed next time.
Yeah. Well, this is two shows in a row. And by the way, I'm hosting this week, so I don't know what little gods have come and bestowed upon me. Wait, you're about to curse this. Hold on. That's the Apple box. Shush, 360 grad. You're being cheeky again. Good. Okay. We're so looking forward to the show, though. So NAB is a small part of it. It really is a nice thing when we're starting up in January and February, thinking about spring, Easter time. Not that everybody celebrates Easter, but just sort of that time of year, and everything just sort of comes alive, and we get to see our friends, and it's beautiful.
And it's always, I don't know about everyone else, but I always find that January is normally quite a dry month work-wise. Everyone's kind of still working their way into the new year. Things start revving up normally mid-February again. And it's just that nice little thing on the horizon to look forward to get you through that little lean spell. And the moment I have my flights booked every year, I don't know, I just get that little bit happier, that little 10% extra boost in me. Yeah.
Yep.
So now having that done last week, I'm very excited.
Loom Movies is looking for a self-balancing gimbal, a monitor where I can use touch AF options of my Canon camera, and a follow-up to the Aperture Mini 20D light set. I agree, that needs an update.
All of that stuff for sure. I'd love all of that. That's amazing. Let's see.
Brian, we're the overlords that we're working for. We're working. So we really do work at the show, but we just try to make sure that we also see all of our friends and, hang out with everybody. But it is work. Trust me. When we land and we get there, those 3 days are no joke. That's 3 minimum 14-hour days, I'd say. And not that that's ridiculous, but it is really, so we earn our keep while we're there for sure.
We do. And there's a few of you talking about trying to go, not being able to afford going. I will just say this, that the first time that I went, it was the middle of winter, a bit like now, didn't really have much work on the horizon. Asked my wife if she would be cool with me disappearing for a couple of weeks to go to Vegas. And she's very cool and agreed wholeheartedly. But that thing has opened so many doors for me. I've met so many amazing friends, not just, which is how I met you. I took one of your classes on the C300 when it came out.
Interesting.
The first time I met you, the first time we spoke, I was asking you about how weatherproof it was.
That's right.
That's the first time we spoke.
I probably didn't even know the answer.
Well, you made something up. You said.
Oh, come on, stop it.
But I did the post-production world series, which at the time it was great. It was, I can't remember, about $1,000 then, and it was this whole 5 or 6 days of it's just classes in everything, and a huge amount to take in. But I think that massively improved the standard of the work that I was doing at the time. But on top of that, just the people that I met have become some of my best friends in the world, and connections from people I met there have led to all kinds of connections in Europe, people that I work with regularly, obviously UK lab, all of this. Don't think of it as just going to see the new cameras that you can just look at on Shooter and see what's going on. It is so worth going for the people that you meet and the doors that can open for you. There you go. They're not paying me either. Oh no, they are this year. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it can energize you. I think you have to look at the show though, and you have to split it, because we have Cine Gear now, which you have to get out to, and they're two very different shows. Because Cine Gear is a shorter show. It happens on a lot. Paramount. It has a totally different vibe, which I absolutely love. It still has a community thing, but there's something about, Cine Gear for me is probably my favorite show, but it's also a show where I'm generally not doing anything massive ahead of time. I might go to Able Cine and teach a workshop, create some content, but I'm also catching up with my friends. But the nice thing about NAB is it's people from all over the world, right? So at Cine Gear, I'm catching up with all the manufacturers who are here in the States. and sort of the regular cast of characters who I know and love. But it's only at NAB every year in April, where everybody comes from everywhere. And I see all of those people and get to catch up with them. I mean, you know, I can't imagine not being there at this point after so long. And it's just sort of that little part of the year that's that I love it. You know, it's really good. And it can open up opportunities. You don't go with that idea. You go there just to, you know, to have conversations and to meet people and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That said, just do a lot of reading up if you're going to go work out, because the connections that you make, you don't make them on the show floor. You make those at the events, the parties that are going on. There's all sorts happening every night. And you just get on Twitter and start finding out what's happening when, make friends there, get a little base of people that you know through social media or whatever, and then they'll open the doors into the rest of it for you. But it's definitely worth putting in that groundwork.
Now, I don't want to go into this too much, Bill, so I'm going to make my answer short, and I think Ben should be short. But you're asking, what's our relation with photography? Notice it at lower left tile. So we don't really talk about photography much on camera and Flask. We could absolutely do that. Ben and I both, especially Ben and I, have a long history with photography, very different histories. Mine was that I grew up in a house an apartment in New York City with a father who was a professional photographer. I got a used Pentax K1000 as my first camera. I still have the original user manual for that. And I took photographs for a long time. I still do. But I never went down the career path of being a photographer. You know, there was a pivot at a certain point, and it went into the video side of things in terms of capturing moving images. And so, you know, Ben will talk about it, but his photography career has been much lengthier and a professional photography career. So, yeah, that's my take on it. Yep.
Yeah, well, mine goes back to, I guess, when I was 15, 16, when I started doing work for local newspapers, and then went off to university, came out to the Czech Republic for a year or two then after I met my wife, and then went back to the UK, and I was working as a commercial photographer for a government body that markets the national park where I'm from. So that was an incredible job. I was essentially a paid landscape photographer for 3 years, which was an incredible gig. And since then, I left, set up my own business as a commercial photographer, and did that, I would say, for probably 8 or 9 years before I then got back into doing more video work. And that's actually, I studied professional sound and video technology, so I had that kind of in the back of my head all the time. But really around the time when the 5D Mark II came out and I could actually make pretty video, it really sort of sparked an interest, and that kind of coincided with the time when internet speeds were getting up to the sorts of levels where people were using video for their marketing far more than they had been. And it all just sort of worked out that I could then start selling video services to my stills clients. But I still do stills work now. I would say it's probably about 25-30% of my workload is still stills. It's transferred far more to video, but yeah, certainly is still a big part of what I do. I still have a photo studio in the UK. I'm a partner in that. And if someone asks me what I do that I've not met before, that's not an industry person, I normally tell them I'm a photographer still. I don't know why. Force of habit. Suicide. It's easy. It's easier. You don't have to start explaining anything.
Let me just say that, you know, before we move on, that photography questions are welcome here on Camera and Flask, and we're happy to have those conversations. So it doesn't have to just be moving images. So definitely do that. So as Bart is moving us along and pushing us, we can see what kind of fourth guest he's going to be on the show. We've got 16 minutes actually left. And what are we looking forward to in 2020? So, Ben, for you personally, you know, it's a mental thing, of course, right? It's just another day when January 1st comes around. But for you personally, what are sort of some of the goals? What are the things that you're looking for? And everybody kind of, chime in on the chat in terms of stuff. What about for you? Where do you want to be at the end of 2020? Like, what is it that you want to do professionally? And is there anything you want to do with your brand and all of that fun stuff?
Goodness, yeah, all sorts, really. I think I want to be doing more work here. I want to be DPing more as my role rather than full filmmaker. I still will certainly be doing that for certain jobs. And there's something I like about that. I like having the control of a job from the conception through to delivery. There's something I like very much about that. But I just love working with a crew, working as part of something bigger. And I want to do that. And that's what I'm now starting to try to foster contacts to allow that to happen. And more work in Central Europe. I mean, that's another big thing. At the same time, more oil and gas stuff, because it's just lucrative, it pays the bills, and I really enjoy that stuff. I find that whole world fascinating, the secret world that people don't really get to see. Although a couple of weeks ago, because I haven't had any offshore work for a little while, I watched Deepwater Horizon, which I've avoided seeing for ages. And this time last year, I was working on an oil rig, which is pretty much the exact same thing as Deepwater Horizon, way off in the Arctic, in the dark of December. And I thought I'll watch it now. I haven't done any offshore stuff for a while. And lo and behold, the next day the phone rang for a job in January. So ridiculous. So now I can lie in my bed even more than I normally do, going, what was that? What was that? So so work-wise, there's definitely that. I would like to, and I know you hear me say this, and I know it never happens, but I really do want to start making some content and putting that out on YouTube and just raising a bit of profile that way, which I will definitely do this year. So that's kind of the goals for the year, really, is to change things around, be less reliant on the UK for work. Certainly, that's a big thing, because Brexit proper is likely to happen at the end of 2020. So just making sure that I'm I can survive on what I'm getting from Europe. And then just the other thing, just picking up on stuff going on in the chat, people talking about Instagram. Definitely follow 360. He's got some amazing stuff. Beautiful work. Yeah. So that's kind of where I see things going, and that sort of moderate changes, I guess. But yeah, I'm kind of fired up. I'm not always am at this time of year. I think sometimes I get to this time of year and you just kind of plod on. Things have been busy, but this year I really feel well, and I'm already actively trying to make changes to just progress things on, get into different areas, make life a little less stressful and a bit more fun, I think. How about your good self?
Well, this will tie in, and I'll do a little answer to Brian Paul also. In 2020, he's hoping to start a YouTube channel as a creative outlet. Am I crazy? Yes, you're crazy, but it has to be something. This is the advice I can give you. If you're going to do it on something. Excuse me, Ben. Do it on something that you're really interested in doing, and that you could see yourself doing for a long time. Don't just say, I'd like to talk about, how I like to cook this or how I like to make that. It has to be a subject matter that has legs, that you are going to be interested in finding something out or learning something about on a regular basis, so that you can create content around that. Because if you don't do that, it's gonna hit a brick wall sooner than you think, and sometimes you have to reinvent yourself. So we've seen people like Caleb do that very successfully. The DNA of his channel is still the same, but he has to grow himself, and he has to allow his audience to grow with him. This is very similar to being a teacher. When I teach a workshop, you think you're going along and everything's, great. And then you realize that people don't need that information that way anymore. They're growing with you. They're also growing with the content that they're accessing online. And so what was relevant to teach 3 years ago isn't necessarily something that you want to teach now. So as you grow, your audience grows with you. My plans for 2020 are absolutely 1,000,000% to grow this channel. It's not a number. It's just growing the channel. It's creating a bigger community. It's hopefully delivering better education. That's always the goal, is that you learn something when I'm especially doing recorded content, and whether that's for free content that I'm creating for the channel, or I'm producing sponsored content, or I'm doing an educational series for a camera company. The goal always is, how can I help you learn how to use this tool so that you're better at what you're doing, not creatively all of the time, but yes, that's part of the goal when it's craft based, but also, like I've got a job in a week and I've got to use this camera that came out, or I'm renting for the first time. My goal is to help you figure that all out. Get through the engineers' brains that are just, that make no sense sometimes when they're designing menus and they're calling things certain things. My job is to help you figure that out. So that's a big goal. Another big goal is to produce a lot more content that I'm not in. So that's really what I love to do, is to help other people deliver content effectively. So I'm hoping there's going to be more of that. And I would like to do more stuff here in this space that's related to the C47. I'd like to do more stuff for clients in this space as well. And when I'm traveling, I really only want to travel 2 or 3 times a year for education. Now, I'm not saying on-site, because when I'm doing stuff for NBC Universal and stuff, that's great. But it's really NAB New York, go to Cine Gear. And then I think the rest of the time, the traveling should be for bigger productions and bigger stuff. And then also on-sites for companies that are doing, sort of specialized, specific, training. Also bought my first, hold on. Oh, okay, good. All right, David. I can't repeat that. Everybody can read it. Rob says 50% of his income he would like it to come from video production versus consulting. Okay, cool. I think I'd become a bit gear blinded. Do you mean like you have to have that? Yeah, I mean, Bart, I think that's true.
We
I
all
think
do that.
We all do, and I constantly say to myself, I have enough stuff. Let's just start using these tools to get even better at what we're doing. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's what I got. Bigger. Obviously, the bills don't get smaller, and they don't get less numerous. They get more numerous, and they get higher. So yeah, that stuff.
So that's interesting. Wanting to stay more time at home. That's always. I know we speak about this a lot, and I think everyone has the same issue. I've never spoken to anybody who feels they've got this right. This kind of work-life balance thing. Yep. I found this year that I love being back at home when I've been away for a bit, because obviously I'm traveling all the time. I think I've flown 67 times this year, which is just horrific. So that's a big thing for next year. Get that down, because my guilt level for my carbon footprint is also horrible.
Oh, me too.
I need to go to sleep at night again. I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Interestingly, for those of you in Europe, EasyJet are now offsetting the carbon. And I haven't seen exactly how they're doing it, which I need to look into, but they're offsetting the carbon for every single flight you take with them.
Really?
Already. Yeah.
Are they chucking people out of the airplane? What are they doing? What's happening?
I have no idea what they're doing for that, but it's interesting. Oh, and on the EasyJet front, because I think I found a little trick that I can take more luggage with them than you're really supposed to be able to, by checking in your hand luggage, which they don't have a weight limit on. Interestingly, it's just a size limit. So the Nanook case that I ordered way back when we did our Black Friday deals arrived when I was in the UK the day before I flew back. It is here, and it's brilliant. Absolutely, it's so nicely designed in terms of the handles, the catches on it. I've got liking it more than any Pelly that I've had, and it has survived unscathed so far, being checked for the 1 and 2 flights that it has done. So I know we were talking about that at the time, and some people in the chat had ordered it. But yeah, very, very good. Very happy with that. But yeah, the work-life balance thing, it's very difficult. But hence, I've been at home a little too much or for too long a periods, and because everyone goes out to school and work, and then I sit here going crazy on my own for a lot of the time.
It's not hard. It's not hard. Well, I mean, one of the reasons I need to have this barn set up is it's not insulated. And if I'm in the house, you go bonkers for many reasons. When they're there, when they're not. By the way, Kim is looking for a producer. Find a producer for a feature. Very awesome. That's really cool. Bart Johnson Productions. Cool. I saw what you said about, sort of less worry, a reset, all that kind of stuff. It's Chutes and Ladders here, but it's Snakes and Ladders over the pond. So don't forget that, Bart. We're not playing Chutes and Ladders over in the UK. We're playing Snakes. Isn't it Snakes? Is it Snakes? Yeah, it's called Chutes and Ladders. Yeah.
Chutes and Ladders.
Yeah, I don't know why it shoots, because Snakes makes a lot more sense. But, because you're going, it's like, it's almost like, why would you want chutes and ladders? We need snakes and we need ladders. But that just reminded me about something. So, yeah.
Why would you mess with Snakes and Ladders?
Because you take the U away. That's what we do here in the United States of America. It's not favorite with a U. It's favorite without a U. Come on. The only thing that they can do is they add an E here, because whiskey can only be without an E in Scotland. So
yeah, exactly. That's not just there. That's Ireland. That's everywhere else.
I know it is. Come on. Yeah. So now we've got airline chat happening here. I don't think this is where we go for the end of the year. Come on.
No, but 360, yes, a lot, very good. Looked at them before. Part of the airline group that I use the most, which is the Lufthansa family. So I'll have a look into that for sure. In fact, I was going to come to NAB using LOT, but things just worked out slightly differently. Yeah, we'll do that another time.
Tony says 2020 for me is to stop thinking about gear and get a handle on marketing for clients, along with understanding the value of video. It's a bit easier to sell if I can tell them what it's for. Tony, this is such a moving target when it comes to our industry. SEO, the term marketing, branding and marketing together. I think that when I started out in the mid 90s and really until about maybe 5 years ago, it was over time became clearer and clearer and clearer to me what it meant to market something, and branding, and those concepts related to offering an audience product or service. But I think today that, God damn, it's so hard. It's so hard to figure out, because sometimes, most of the time, I think we're talking out of our ass because we really don't know. Which is why I've sort of taken this approach to most of my clients are word of mouth. I found my lane, which is I create educational content. What I want to do in 2020 is help other companies that are disrelated to this industry create educational content, because that's what I know how to do well. So I can help somebody, as long as I understand what it is that their business is, sell through education. And to me, I think that's probably one of the most effective ways of marketing. And we've seen it time and time again. So for me, what I latch on to is, I'm not reading the books on how to successfully market a product in the internet age. What I'm looking at is, how can I take a client who has knowledge about their particular industry and what it is that they do or offer to a client or to a customer base, and I'm going to help them sell through education. So that's the way I'm going to help somebody market to an audience and understand what their brand stands for. That's sort of my viewpoint overall. If I look at all of the other stuff that's going on, it's just too esoteric. It's too, it's such a moving target for me that I can't even latch onto that crap. It's just driving me nuts.
Well, and I find now the jobs that I prefer to do in terms of the stress level is working with marketing agencies. So they do all that for the client. Right. And then you're just focused on, you're working with them. They've done the research. They're working out who the target audience is, and you're working with them. But in a way that takes you out of that whole headache.
Yep.
I find the stress reduction on those jobs working for an agency opposed to working directly with the client is amazing. And also for the communication with the client, it's going via them. You've got a cushion, and that's hugely valuable.
Totally. And I think our job as content creators is to understand what the brand stands for. We have to understand what the marketing message is supposed to be for a particular video or content that we're creating. We are not the marketing department. We are not the brand experts for that. What we need to do is we need to understand and be able to communicate to an audience what it is that company is offering in terms of a product or service. If you want to be a professional marketer, then become a marketing company. We're content creators. That's our job. At least that's the way I look at my job. So yes, stay in your lane is great because you want to find an area that you're not only passionate about, but you think you can just get really good. I'm still not happy with how I deliver educational content, but I'm very comfortable with the fact that I can figure out how for myself or for other people to communicate effectively how to do something within a particular industry. And I actually said it, I would have a conversation with a friend of mine recently, and I put it into, I don't know if it'll be in the video I just did, but I've figured out that not only am I focused on small to no crew and sort of this area, but I'm the, in a way, I'm kind of like the blue collar diner guy. I say I'm not the Vegas nightclub guy. So if you want flashy, I'm not that person.
Oh, come. I've seen you in many Vegas nightclubs, Mr. Schofield.
Oh, stop it. Yeah. And you were like, who the hell is this numbnut? that person looks like they're the most out of place that they could possibly be. So yeah, I might be there, but that's on a Tuesday night at NAB. Anybody can get into the best nightclub at NAB on a Tuesday night when a company is sponsoring the party. So let's be serious, Ben. Come on. Come on, kids. The film guys here coming in late. We're talking about the future. We got stuff happening here, and I don't know what the hell's going on right now, but I'm happy about it. Look, we've got a new year coming up. It's mental. We're mental. If you come from Ben's side of the pond, you'll know what that means. If you're from here, you won't know what that means. It's chutes and ladders. No, it's snakes and ladders.
Snakes and ladders.
And that's going to blow Bart's mind when he checks out and goes to Amazon and says amazon.co.uk and tries to buy chutes and ladders. Nope. It's going to come up probably with snakes and ladders is what I think.
That shocked me to my core. That you don't use snakes and ladders. I don't understand.
We don't have snakes. Well, you can get anything now. I mean, I go to a Marshall's here and I buy Christmas crackers from England. So, in a tiny little town.
Really amazing. So I've got a question for you before we finish.
Yes.
Did you see The Irishman yet?
No, I'm waiting. I need 3.5 hours and a bottle of scotch. Well, maybe like not a bottle, but I need 3.5 hours, and it's happening on the break. I've got my big TV downstairs, and I'm sitting down, and it's going to happen. 1,000,000%.
I saw it this week. I've been kind of glued to Netflixy things because I've been doing all kinds of admin and website update and all that kind of stuff. So I have on my second screen, I have had Netflix on. It's sublimely good. I read so many reviews going, it's boring, it lasts forever. It's just wonderful. So good. You'll love it. Me and you have very similar taste in films.
We do. The film guys got it coming in late. I'm from neither side of the pond, but we call it snakes.
Yes.
What do you mean? Why would anyone slide down a snake? You don't slide down a snake.
It eats you.
It eats you and it
shits you out.
You've got a ladder. Ladders are for sliding down. Oh, come on. All right.
David liked it as well. Clearly a man of taste. Yeah. Yeah, it was good. I've enjoyed Netflix this week. I've watched that. I watched Six Underground, which was terrible. And today, you know, I've been loving that. There's a new show. It's called Impeachment. I've been glued to it the last few hours. I'll be going back to it once this is done. It's very exciting.
Yes. Wait a minute. What does this mean? Wait a minute. When you're visiting Westcott, oh, so you Grumpy Penguin, 10 minutes from Toledo, Ohio. Well, mommy, let me just tell you, Lotus of Siam is my favorite. I'm getting nostalgic now. Lotus of Siam is really my favorite Thai restaurant, but there is a Thai restaurant in Maumee, Ohio, which is quite exceptional, I have to say, especially when maybe or maybe not you had a little moonshine prior to arriving there. So I murdered a meal there one time. It was outrageously good. You're welcome for the great education. I hope it is that. And I don't know what's going on with the now people are chiming in with shows that they liked. We don't want this year to end, and I feel that we're a little early here on December 18th. Let me just tell you, it's really because of when the holidays are falling that this is happening. I love that Snakes and Ladders and Chutes and Ladders came into this conversation, and somebody else said they called it Slides and Ladders. Really? What is that all about? That I have no idea. What's
Slides
going on
and Ladders?
Come on, Bart. What's happening here?
No, look. Who said this? Are they Australian? That sounds like that might be an Australian thing.
Maybe.
Somewhere between.
No. That was Bart was saying that. I thought Bad Karma was saying he loves Cameron Flask. He's talking about Mandalorian. Gee, come on. Oh, how can you hate a bounty hunter? All right, kids, it's going to be a wrap now. We love you guys and gals and everybody there. It's been a good year. I think that next year can be even better. When we're looking at our numbers here, tell your friends about this channel. Subscribe to the C47. It's a resource. It's educational. Occasionally, it's a little silly. It's a little cheeky. Sometimes we even talk about Chutes and Ladders and Snakes and Ladders. I don't know what to say. What are you going to take us out with, Ben, for this fabulous year?
It's been an amazing year. It has been an amazing year. And we got to all hang out in person. We're going to get to do it again next year. Onwards and upwards, my friend.
Yes.
So to everyone, have a very many Christmases. No, one, probably. If you celebrate Christmas, have an amazing one. If not, just enjoy the time of year. Have a very happy new year. And we look very much forward to seeing you all again on the 8th of January.
And just to take it out here, I'm going to give you my Christmas movie of the year, which is an old school look back. I'm going to go with, get this, Better Off Dead. That's my Christmas movie of the year. Go back to the 80s and watch it. It's a beautiful movie. It's funny. And it's very, very 80s. That's what I got for you. What's your Christmas movie of the year? What you got?
Christmas movie of the year?
Yeah, like something that everybody has to watch. From this year.
And I can think of the film and I can see it, but I can't. What's it called? Black and white film, old film.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life. Right. That's what you got to go see.
Kind of a lame, but Die Hard I'll take, Bart. That's good. $2. Oh, Sam's coming in with $2. Are you kidding me? It's a Christmas miracle. There's so many good things in Better Off. Are you going to watch Better Off Dead over the holidays? Come on.
Me? Yeah, I will now. I'll go watch it.
I'm talking to the other person who's doing the show with me. You got to watch it.
People. All right, I'll go watch that, and also Die Hard, which is a Christmas film. There is no dispute.
100,000,000% a Christmas movie. Everybody's coming in. We knew Rob was coming in with $2.
Gremlins. Yeah. Gremlins for sure. Gremlins. Yeah.
Come on. Oh my God, I had such a crush on that French girl in Better Off Dead. Ridiculous. Let me tell you, it's a great movie. It's so funny. Ricky's in it. We've got the whole cast of characters. just watch that over the holidays. Most of you will probably hate it, loathe it, but for me, it's part of my history. Love everybody, and we're going to the logo in a second. So here we go. Slanjava, happy holidays to everybody, whatever holiday you celebrate. Yes, let's do it.
Okay. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, Vesele Vánoce, Dobronoc.